the Clone Wars. When we hear those words, we picture sprawling battlefields, Jedi Knights leading the charge, and a galaxy fighting for its soul. We tend to think of it as the war the Republic won, right before it collapsed. But that's the greatest deception of them all. The Clone Wars weren't a conflict Palpatine just happened to win. They were a show he produced from the very beginning. He didn't just seize power, he made the galaxy beg him to take it. This wasn't a simple military takeover. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare, played out on a galactic scale. Palpatine's real genius wasn't with a lightsaber. It was his bone-deep understanding of fear, ambition, and how systems decay. So, let's break down the step-by-step-by-step playbook he used to turn a democracy into a dictatorship and convince almost everyone it was their idea. To really get what Palpatine pulled off, you have to look at the Galactic Republic before the first shot was even fired. It was already rotting from the inside out. We're talking about a government so bogged down in bureaucracy and corruption that it was failing to serve its own people, especially in the Outer Rim. This wasn't a perfect system Palpatine shattered. It was a broken one, and he knew exactly where to press to make the whole thing crumble. He didn't need to invent problems. He just weaponized the ones that were already there. The separatist movement, led by the charismatic ex-Jedi Count Dooku, had legitimate complaints about politics and economics that a lot of worlds agreed with. But behind the scenes, the entire crisis was being secretly managed by Dooku's master, Darth Sidious, Palpatine's dark side alter ego. He wasn't just taking advantage of a crisis, he was pouring gasoline on a fire to make sure a political debate became a full-blown war. His strategy was as simple as it was terrifying. Help create a crisis, position himself as the only one who can solve it, then use the ensuing panic to grab more power. When the separatist threat looked too big to handle, the Senate panicked. And in that chaos, who proposed granting emergency powers to the Chancellor? A well-meaning but politically naive Jar Jar Binks. Swept up in the wave of fear that Palpatine had carefully cultivated. With a single vote born from manufactured terror, the Senate handed Palpatine a blank check. He promised it was just a temporary thing, a necessary tool to get them through the crisis. As he told the cheering Senate, "The power you give me, I will lay down when this crisis has abated." Of course, he never planned to. He didn't tear down democracy with an army. He got democracy to dismantle itself. One emergency measure at a time, all for its own security. Palpatine's grip on the political stage was only half the game. His true masterpiece was secretly running the entire war. As Chancellor Palpatine, he was the Republic's unwavering leader. As Darth Sidious, he was the hidden hand guiding the Separatist alliance. He was playing chess against himself, making sure every battle, every victory, and every loss served his ultimate goal. By controlling both sides, he could guarantee the war was just bloody enough to justify his growing power, but never decisive enough to end too soon. He needed to drag it out. He had to wear down the Jedi, drain the Republic's treasury, and make everyone so sick and tired of fighting that they'd accept any deal promising peace and order. His ultimate tool in this galaxy-wide con? The Grand Army of the Republic. The discovery of the clone army on Kamino is one of the most twisted parts of the whole story. The Order was originally and secretly placed by Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, who had visions of a coming war. But the Sith moved quickly to hijack his plan. After arranging Sifo Dyas' death, Count Dooku, under his Sith name Tyrannus, took over the project. He hired Jango Fett as the genetic template and steered the army's creation, all while using the name of a dead Jedi. So when Obi-Wan Kenobi stumbles onto this army, he finds a military solution the Jedi Council never approved and the Senate knew nothing about. Palpatine, using the fresh emergency powers the Senate had just given him, was able to legalize this secret army almost instantly. He presented a solution to a problem he helped create, using an army that was his from the start. The clone army was the perfect trap. It forced the Jedi, who were meant to be peacekeepers, to become generals. It changed their role in the galaxy, made the public suspicious, and hidden inside every single trooper was the final devastating key to Palpatine's plan. But Palpatine's game wasn't just about moving armies and senates. The most chilling part was far more personal, aimed directly at the heart of the Jedi Order, and its most famous hero. Before we get into that, if you're enjoying this breakdown of the galaxy's greatest villain, hit that subscribe button. We go deep into Star Wars lore like this all the time, and we'd love for you to join us. While the politician moved senates and the puppet master moved armies, it was the mentor who delivered the killing blow. Palpatine's most sinister project was the slow, patient corruption of Anakin Skywalker. From the moment he met that 9-year-old boy, Palpatine saw more than a powerful kid. He saw a vessel for all the fear, anger, and ambition the Jedi tried so hard to suppress. For 13 years, he played the part of the one person who actually understood Anakin. While the Jedi Council urged caution, Palpatine showered him with praise. He fed Anakin's ego, telling him he was destined for more, and that the Jedi were holding him back. He became a father figure, a friend, a confidant, a constant whisper in Anakin's ear, planting seeds of doubt that slowly cut him off from the Order, and even from Obi-Wan. The deepest hook Palpatine set was Anakin's terror of loss. He never got over the death of his mother. So when Anakin started having nightmares about Padme dying, that same old fear came roaring back. Palpatine didn't have to create the visions, he just had to exploit them. He hinted that the dark side held the power to cheat death, a power the Jedi would call unnatural. He twisted Anakin's love, his best quality, into a desperate possessive fear that would eventually drive him to do the unforgivable. At the same time, the war itself was chewing up the Jedi Order. By making them commanders, Palpatine dragged them into the bloody politics of conflict. They stopped being seen as enlightened monks and started looking like just another faction fighting for power. This created a deep public distrust that Palpatine carefully fanned until people started seeing the Jedi not as guardians, but as a threat. This all led to one final horrific move, Order 66. This wasn't just a command, it was a switch inside every clone's head, thanks to a mandatory inhibitor chip. The official story was that the chips were there to control clone aggression. The truth was that they were a Sith tool, built for one purpose, to make the clones turn on and kill their Jedi generals without a second thought. When Palpatine gave the order, the soldiers who had fought beside the Jedi for 3 years became their executioners in an instant. The Jedi's own army became the weapon of their extinction. So, there it is. Through political maneuvering, military puppeteering, and psychological predation, Palpatine won. He used the Republic's own laws to tear it down, turning fear into power. He ran a war where both sides reported to him, dragging it out until the galaxy was broken. And most tragically, he found the Jedi's chosen one and twisted him into the ultimate symbol of their failure. By the time he stood in the Senate and declared himself emperor, public opposition had been crushed. The war was over. His enemies were dead or in hiding, and the person who could have stopped him was now standing by his side in a black mask. As a few horrified senators watched in silence, the rest of the chamber erupted in applause. The galaxy, desperate for stability, didn't just fall to a dictator, it cheered for one. Palpatine's rise is a chilling reminder of how easily freedom can be traded for security. He didn't need everyone to agree with him. He just needed them to be too afraid and too tired to fight back. So what do you think was Palpatine's single riskiest move? The long con with Anakin, or juggling both sides of a galactic war? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.